Yes, this is René, the project manager of the Digitale Days, and I'm here in Aalborg with Jan Karlshøj from buildingSMART that wants to give a short lecture about buildingSMART's work on development and implementing open BIM to make better business. So the next 20 minutes is yours.
Thank you very much. And it's a pleasure to be able to make this presentation for School of Architecture in Ho Chi Minh in Vietnam. And this is partly in Danish, but most is made in English, so I hope it will be useful. I have some questions in Danish, but mainly this is about that you should consider as a user or working in the construction industry that you should be aware of who is wants to take care of your interest. Your interest as a company is probably to make profit, make good buildings, and have customers that are satisfied, and of course that will be the same for the client or a software company, but as you are trying to make profit for your own company, there might be different views on how to use software in the construction industry, if you look at it from an architect's point of view or from a software company's point of view. I will try to explain something on why it's important to use BIM and open BIM, and Sten Sunsen, who is the managing kind of director manager of buildingSMART Norway, has made these slides, and this is a project from US where he shows the I think the Southern Hospital, and show this. Of course, it's quite complicated to make buildings like this and to integrate all the different systems made by different parties and put together on site by different people. Also, we should take into account from a business point of view that a survey that was made in Denmark shows that only something like 1/5 or 20% of the time on the site is actually constructing. The rest is planning, transportation. Arrows is almost the same as the amount of work carried out for making the construction, and breaks. This might not be the same all over the world, but I think there are similarities, and of course there's huge potential if something like this could be reduced. The idea in buildingSMART has been for many years that we should try to avoid unstructured communication, have more structured communication, and this might not be possible to do in real life, but to have a more server-based approach and be able to share information. And buildingSMART is then looking at how to use BIM, but also use the open standards, so you're able to exchange data, and that's why we have used the or seeing Open BIM as a good kind of acronym for this approach. Again, for instance, the waste in the industry is seen as something like 30%. It's very large numbers. If we look at what buildingSMART is looking into, if you look at it from a technical point of view, buildingSMART is making the IC format, which is based on a data model. There's an extra layer that is not implemented that well at this point, which is about terminology. Then there's a layer about processes, and then buildingSMART is actually not taken care of, but an important part is how to change the organization or to implement the use of BIM in organization. So I see it's mainly about exchanging information between software programs. And the next level is this about terminology, which can be further developed, but is in ongoing work. this could lead to databases with information that could be shared and could be used by different companies around the world as service providers, but based on the same terminology, or at least recognized terminology. It might not be able to harmonize this 100%, but at least that you are aware of which kind of terminology you're using. And one example is if you look at a door set. In Norway and UK, there's the differences what a door is seen as, whether it's all the components related to a door, or it's just part of the door. We want to reduce the drop that you provide make some information, and then you have a loss of information going from one phase to another. So we want to maintain as much as possible. And this could be for different activities. So if you have a kind of, this is based on an ISO process, but it kind of, you have the outline design, then you have more detailed design and construction and management, facility management. You have a lot of activities, and it would be nice if it would be possible to use some of this information or to reuse it. I will skip some of this, but go to this slide, which is showing that you have the brief, and then you have the design draft and product design of the building and erecting of the building and handover. So that's the kind of traditional process. But if you want the design to make something which is useful for the more detailed design, those working in this area, they have to specify what they need. And also for the construction, what do they need from the design people? So that should be documented, and that's part of the concept that buildingSMART have. That's called IDM, Information Delivery Manuals. So you have the process, you have the requirements going in different directions, but the actual data flow will come from the early stages and be developed through the different processes. Then you could look at a Danish example. Here we have a software provider that has made some software that's been used by some state clients. It's based on use of these IDMs, Information Delivery Manuals, where the information requirements has been specified, and then they made some software that so you're actually able to control whether this has or check whether this has been fulfilled or not. So the companies in Denmark, they actually had to use BIM in public competitions, and these are some samples where it's been used, and it's projects from less than $100 million to around 200, a little bit less, $100 million. So they have to make a building according to certain requirements. So the guy making the model will make a model, and then he will use this checker, and then he will get a report, and if it's okay, he can send the model to the client. If there are some mistakes, he will get a report with arrows, and then he has to fix it and upload a new version, and then when he has get rid of the arrows, it will be sent to the client. And it has been used, and it has improved the quality significantly. Now they are able to actually use the models as looking at mainly about areas, economy and energy. And I know they are going to continue this to a more detailed level for the coming time. But it's an example where the clients have specified what they need. The architects and engineers are making models according to this, and then they can use the software to check whether they are fulfilling the requirements or not. And if not, they will make a change, and if it's okay, it will be sent to the client, and the client has actually proved that it's useful, and has even claimed that this has been from non-IT people, that this was the best material that they have had for evaluating competitions, which I think is very important. That it's not just some ICT-related initiative, but it is actually used for the people in the process who is going to make decisions on which of the projects in the competitions that should win the competition. This is mainly one example, but based on a little bit on what is happening in Finland. Skanska is a Swedish company, but having activities worldwide, and Finland has been a kind of front runner in this area for some time, and in all design build projects at Skanska Finland, they are using BIM, and they have completed something more than 100 projects using this methodology. So they use the models for visualization, for scheduling, and making quantity takeoffs off, but also actually for the safety planning on site. So they will add kind of temporary constructions and fences and things like that. And they see BIM as something that can enable their strategy is relate to 5 zeros. They want to have no zeros in design, no errors in quantity cost estimation, quantity and cost estimating, and no errors in procurement and logistics, and no errors in construction, and no errors in handover. And I think that's tough for everybody, and this is kind of tough requirements for a construction company, as the industry in many cases have had significant problems to have good quality. But they also want to have a higher productivity, and one way to do that could be to reduce the amount of rework. They use IC, which is the data model from buildingSMART, to exchange the model contents of the models, and they use different tools, but for instance Solibri to do the class detection. So here's one example where they at the design stage have identified that there's a class, and some of these classes might look kind of strange, but it might have been okay at one point, and then for whatever reason some of the components might have been moved, and then you're might easily be in a position is very difficult to be aware of all the other components in the building, and then you have a class. But by using virtual models and in this case use the IC to hand over the information from one system to another, you're able, for instance in Solibri, to look at and identify these classes and get rid of the classes before they occur on the site. Here's another class, other classes, and they also try to use this bringing people together to solve the problems, and also to use the models actually during the design meetings. This kind of similar approach, which is DPR is using in US, where they call this big room. A little bit more about the process, but again about the IC in Finland, also in Denmark, Magicat is used by many companies for making the HVAC design, and here they will use the IC to hand it over to the Tekla management part, or Solibri. Tekla is mainly a structural program, but in Finland, or Tekla is using Skanska Finland is using that for making scheduling. And use Solibri for the class detection, and they use in one of the areas they use IC to hand over the information from one system to another system. Yes, and also it's used for production. So they have the different models, not just the structure models, but also the architectural model and geotechnical model. HVAC, and try to make the site planning and safety by use of IFC. And they combine it, and they try to make construction as smooth as possible by making this as coordinated as possible. And so they're able to reuse information by sharing the information from different models. I think I will skip this one and then go to the final presentation. I will go from the beginning and then skip some of the slides. This large presentation, or part of that, is based on results from a project carried out at the Technical University in Copenhagen with the business school, also in Copenhagen, and some consultants. And the main purpose of this has been to see if the national requirement or public requirements have had any impact on the industry, and we identified some projects which are not the use of ICT has actually not been mandated, but it's been used anyway. And you might not be able to see it, but we made a report and methodology, and then we have 4 case studies. One as an extension of a fairly small building, one family house, and then we have the one I'm going to talk most about, a design company's or engineering company's new headquarter, camp for a school or university, and then use of BIM at a contractor. And I could highlight that in this case the contractor has the main kind of the winner in this project has been the who has gained most has been actually the client, because the contract has, based on use of model, given a lower price, so in total it makes it cheaper for the client. In this case, the use of 3D models and more coordinated models, the client claims that he will have less problems, and also he would get a lower price from the contractors, because they can get rid of some of the risk that the contractor will add to his costs in order to have a project where he could benefit and make profit. But in this case, he can reduce some of the risk, and a client would gain by that, because he will have a lower price. And the final one at the bottom is the contractor who's actually doing the structural design himself and erecting the building on site. They have not explored all the possibilities, but they have gained something, and they claim that they won't gain much more in the next projects, and if they explore it further, there will be even more benefits that they could get. I will quickly go to the some of this, just to highlight a little bit that we are trying to identify the different stages in the process, and then we have identified direct savings, or kind of spin-off savings, or indirect savings, and then something that haven't been achieved at all, but kind of potential savings. And we have made reports, made interviews and so forth, but if we concentrate on this one about the new head office for the design office, they has used BIM mainly in design, but also to some extent during construction, and also they actually use it for the bidding process for cleaning of the building. Before it was erected, they needed to identify who should clean the building when it was completed, in not just for handover, but in operation. And they actually use the models for that. We have interviewed a number of participants, both from the architects, engineers, and contractors, and have identified some gains. So this is in Danish, but there's perhaps I should move to the next slide, which is in English. So the outcome of this was that in total it was kind of neutral to use the BIM model or not from a modeling point of view. They spend more, have a higher effort at the beginning of the project but have less at later stage. Rambøll as the design office or engineering design office, they were able to save 3.8 million Danish crown, which is kind of $800,000 due to they could have less manpower after the bidding has been carried out because they have much less input from the side or request for information because they had a more complete project. The contractors in general seem to be benefiting from this. The ventilation or HVAC contractor claimed that he saved something like $800,000. They spent less time on site and they reduced production stops with something like 85 to 90%, which is quite significant. And also due to the ability of or availability of the models, they were able to change some of the processes and who is taking care of what, and they paid some of the other contractors to do some work, but they gained more than they had to pay, so they were gaining more profit in this that they normally would do. And finally, it was viewed that the cleaning and services contract by the use of model and giving access to the model, that gave actually a price reduction. And another outcome of this was that it was actually when it would have been beneficial actually to involve these parties at an earlier stage, because they could demonstrate that if there's been made minor changes to the building, it would have been easier to clean, and that would have saved time just per that they have to move equipment in the building for cleaning the building, and that could be taken care of if they have access to this at an earlier stage. From a buildingSMART point of view, this project is interesting because it's actually the most advanced of the 4 different projects, and in this case they used many different types of software. They used ISC, they also used other formats, but some of the other cases were using software from just one vendor, and I will not claim that it's not possible to have the same gains from using the software from one vendor, but at least this demonstrates that in our survey with the 4 cases, the use of different software and use of standards, including open standards, have not prevented the companies to make the best profit. If you want to know more about buildingSMART, you could visit the international website at buildingSMART.org, and if you have an interest in the kind of user-oriented part, user-driven part, there's something called the IUD, International User Group, which has a buildingSMART.com so far. They are linked together, and the technical site, which is called buildingSMART.org. So thank you very much. I hope it's useful for you, and I hope that you enjoy the event also at your location, as we're having many students here and many people participating in the event here. Thank you very much.
So, thank you to you, Jan, and I can only encourage all you students and companies that's viewing this video to visit the buildingSMART website, and so we can collaborate on making Open BIM more successful and get it working, so we can collaborate in this global world. So thank you from UCN here in Aalborg, and enjoy the video.